right, here we go. OverDrive off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Brian Hayes, the O-Dog, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles McLennan.
What's going on today?
What's going on?
I will apologize to HBO, the corporation, right after you apologize, Hayes, to Connor McDavid. Because I'll tell you what, I saw him live on Saturday night, and I could tell he was ready to go as soon as I saw his dad, Brian, up in the luxury boxes. He looked like he was ready to go. And ever since yourself, Duthie, and the Quizmaster started critiquing McDavid's game and saying McKinnon's the number one guy, guess what he's done? He's gone nuts, and he wants it all.
He's gone nuts.
He has stuffed
He
me in
wants
a
it
locker.
all.
He is so on fire right now. It's gross how well he's playing, and I guess I do owe him an apology.
Dude, you said no more scoring titles, no more hearts.
Not official
and
yet.
He'll never score 50 goals and never even come close to 150
Not
points.
Okay, a couple of those
it's
things
what
were true.
You said.
Some of them were not. I said I'm not sure he wins another Hart. I'm still not sure he wins. I think if it gets handed out tonight, it's still McKinnon, right? 5 or 6 unbelievable games does not put him ahead of McKinnon. If the Art Ross were handed out tonight, it's still McKinnon. So, and I said I don't think he's going to score. Like, I talked about that career year he had, 64 goals, 153 points. He will never do that again. I still stand by that. I still don't believe he's going to reach those numbers. I voted him number 1 for the top 50 this year, coming into the year. But McKinnon has played better than him, consistently over the course of the year. But the way he has played the last handful of games, no one can match it. There's nobody better than that.
You need longevity with that, but I agree. The assessment is still honest, but, you're not wrong in the sense that, I think something is triggered in him. Like, you could tell the last 5, 6, 7 games, he looks to be feeling better. I don't know if he was tired, what was going on, but it's not anymore. He looks like the video game. They didn't have any luck last night. They were no good, but Saturday night he was buzzing right from the drop of the puck. And I felt bad for you, Brian, because you wrote, you responded to some guy on Twitter saying Noodles gave you bad advice, and I almost sent you back like the the fireplace on the screen, like a picture of you standing there at your party with your eggnog instead of being in the building with because you would have seen magic. Like regardless of the outcome, because yes, the Leafs didn't have a game. McDavid and Draisaitl put a clinic on, but seeing McDavid only once a year. You get a chance to see him once live in your backyard. You missed it, and you missed a spectacle that he put on.
And listen, he's in his prime right now. And that's again what I was driving at. He's in year 11. He's not a young guy, right? He did not have a great start to the year, just like he did in the year before, the year before that, where he did not win the Hart, did not win the Art Ross, right? It's been pretty consistent. But when he wants to rev it up, he can still rev it up. And even last night, he had a play where he cut through Montreal's defense.
5 guys.
It was absurd what he did last night.
And it's a tribute to him and Draisaitl, and obviously the rest of the players, but their best ones most importantly, how they can spend the first 20-something games of a season and just say, let's just hold it down here and have enough points for when we want to flip the switch. Because any other team does that. They're the Vancouver Canucks or the Buffalo Sabres. Their players aren't good enough to flip the switch, and you're in a ditch and you can't get out. That's pretty impressive how they can say, just hold it together, and then when we say go, it's go, and then watch out everyone else.
Funny you say Vancouver and Buffalo.
Yes, 2 teams squarely
two teams
in the news
literally
cycle.
Had massive changes in the last 48 hours. I was in Minnesota, literally.
Right, on Friday. Right,
Friday.
when they traded for Quinn Hughes.
I was in the city, and then we did the game Saturday afternoon. He wasn't available, played last night. This guy's a difference maker, and Minnesota now is in that Central Division, man. Those top 3 are
so
that's
good.
going to be killers. That's murderer's row right there.
Murderer's row, and you saw it up close and personal. They kind of, I would say they stole one from Ottawa, but it was tied.
They backdoored it, yeah.
They backdoored it a bit. Yesterday they blew the doors off the Bruins, and Hughes looked great, like you knew he would. And I think we've all had a few days to kind of reset and think about it. In the end, I feel for Canucks fans because it's just a complete failure from top to bottom within the organization. A complete failure, considering where they were a couple years ago, where they had Hughes, where they had Rick Tocchet, they had JT Miller, and now they're just a disaster. And I appreciate that they got the young guys because I think that's the right play. I was fearful a little bit that the owner would get in someone's ear and say, you better get some veteran players who can get us going and sniff around the playoffs so we can sell tickets. They didn't do that. They went with 3 young players and a first-round pick. That is a smart play. Yeah. But there's no guarantees the young guys are going to work. You hope. Obviously, you hope, and obviously you scout, and you've got really quality lottery tickets because they're all first-round picks, and they all have immense talent. But there's no guarantee you didn't just hand over a 26-year-old superstar with a great contract for the next year and a half.
Hazy, you say it's a failure. You say it's a failure top to bottom. I attribute it to 2 things. Their goaltender, who Noodles raves about when he's healthy, and he's a top-notch goaltender, has not been available enough over the last 2 years. That's not an opinion. That's a fact. And number 40 just turned into a third-line player as soon as the ink dried in that $11 million contract per season. And if he performed like a number 1 stud, like he did to earn that contract, I think things would be a lot different. If the goaltender was in the net regularly and he played his ass off and played like a 100-point guy that everybody thought he was, honestly, things might be different. Because when he morphs into a third-line guy who's barely noticeable, it's a hell of a lot different. And when the number 1 goaltender's not in the net for 2 years straight, it's a hell of a lot different. And maybe Tocchet stays, and maybe Quinn Hughes says we have another shot with this group. But when those 2 things went down the drain, I'm telling you, it makes your organization a whole lot different looking.
You talk to people in Vancouver. They took Edmonton to Game 7 in a hell of a series.
With Shelov's in net.
Shelov's in net. That was in Edmonton. You talk to people at Edmonton. That was a hell of a series, and Vancouver was right there. They're a good team, really good team. But I think they did the right thing here. Now you're hearing stories out. I believe Patrick Allvin came out and said, like, it's been a year that they've kind of known, that he wasn't going to re-sign. There's nothing they could do. He's let them know, hey, I'm not going to re-sign. It's unfortunate, but talking to Minnesota, I might be in the minority in this. I think both organizations made out for what they needed right now.
I love the play for Minnesota.
Minnesota. I mean, Bill Guerin. So
brilliant.
His press conference was that we was talking when we were on, right? So we literally were there. I love that he said, like, that was his first offer. Those 3. Now 2 are top prospects. That's Zeev BM. I'm going to butcher his name.
Yeah, he's
apparently
really
he's
good.
A stud. Yeah. Now he's young. He's 20 years old. But they were at a different phase in Minnesota because talking to the people in Minnesota, they were like, they did not want to give that kid up. Apparently, again, you don't want to say that's the next Quinn Hughes, but this kid apparently is a
and he has to be in Vancouver. It
Fair
has
enough.
to hit, right?
Fair
he can't
enough.
be Eric Brandstrom 2.0.
No, I get it.
Can't miss on that one.
What I'm saying is Guerin came out of and basically said, we knew we had to be serious with the offer. We weren't going to go back and forth. That was their opening offer. Those 3 players, top prospects, whatever you want to name it, because Rossi's an NHL player, and he's a good player, and a first-rounder. That's what they led with because it's like, we want to show them we're serious, and he said Jimmy Rutherford and Allvin, they're no dummies. They know what they're doing. So at the end of the day, I thought it was a really good move for both sides. Obviously, the best player is in Minnesota.
I'm surprised no one would go higher than that, personally. You got him for this year and next. Obviously, a lot of people think it's a formality. He's going to New Jersey. Maybe he is, but have you looked at them recently? Not great.
Well,
right? Not exactly a rock star organization down there in Jersey.
They're collapsing right now.
Yeah, and injuries are a factor, including his brother.
Yeah.
But I look at that, and if that was the first offer, if you're Vancouver, could you not have squeezed more? Could you not have called and said, we also want a second rounder and a third? And he probably would have given it to him. Because if you're Bill Guerin, you're like, I'm getting a top 10 player in the world. Like
I know,
watching him
sometimes
yesterday.
it just something. You know what it's like when you're negotiating a car or a house or something, and you get that big chunk in, and then people start screwing around for $10,000 or this or that, and somebody just says, "You know what? I'm going to walk on this."
And
sorry, you're being a.
I respect the fact
D-bag.
that they probably set the price, and Bill Guerin just met it. So if you set a price and someone meets it, you pull the trigger, 100%. And that's likely what happened. Said, I want this, I want that, and I want that. And they said, all right, here you go. And it's like, all right, well, we got it, so we're going to take it. We like the players.
But don't you want to know this? Do you not? When you pull the trigger on a transaction like that, don't you want to know if he's going to re-sign, or are you just doing the deal anyway?
I'm doing it anyway.
I think
Minnesota.
you're doing it anyway, because
and a
of
lot
where
of teams
they
in the league, I'm doing it anyway. You got 2 years with the guy.
And I don't know if we have Quinn Hughes's comments after the game saying that he, quote unquote, thank you to Bill Guerin for having, he said the word sack, for having the sack to trade for me. This sounds to me like he left the door open that he would consider staying.
He's got to say that.
I won't forget that.
He has
Fair
to
enough.
say
that. I just don't think it's a guarantee that he's going to New Jersey in 2 years.
I don't either. Like the idea of playing on the same team as your two brothers, as much as that sounds like such a fantasy to all of us, sometimes it just isn't that. It isn't that.
I did a New Jersey game the other day. Luke is the number one guy in the power play. Now all of a sudden is going to hand to his brother. Like it's a different dynamic. I get it. You want to play with your brothers, but I think Minnesota and Bill Guerin seemed confident. He's like, listen, we want to get him here. We got him for 2 years. Let's see if he loves it here and wants to stay. It's a fair gamble.
Listen, there's a Kawhi Leonard angle to this where Minnesota does not get big names. Got free agency. They're not players. With all due respect, they've had their NHL team back for about 20 years, a little more than that. They had the Suter-Parise moment, which was huge. Obviously, signing Kaprizov, which was big.
Yep.
This is the third wow moment in their history. They haven't really won anything. They've just kind of been around, and they've been a good team, and they're a well-run team, and they're a hockey state. Yep. But I think you had an opportunity to pounce, and that's where I'm going with the other teams. This guy is a top 10 player in the world. He's 26. His contract is remarkable. You have him for 2 years, and maybe you can pitch him. Maybe he leaves, and maybe that burns you. But you get him for 2 years, 2 playoff runs, and the first crack at giving him a long-term deal. And you can Minnesota's the only team that can do it now because the new CBA kicks in as of September 15th.
Yes.
They get to July 1st, give him 8 years, give him all this bonus money, all this different stuff that no other team will be able to do, Jersey included. And if I'm Bill Guerin, I'm like, I'm doing it. And I'm just surprised that no one else would be like, I got to get this guy. He's going to play 25 minutes a night and change my whole team.
Yes.
The whole complexion of everything.
He played 28 last night, or 27 something in his sleep last night.
And he doesn't get tired, and him and Faber are just like a perfect pair.
I know.
Left shot, right shot. That's what everyone's going to meet in the Olympics. Those two are going to be paired together. I'd be shocked if they're not.
Yeah.
And it's a ballsy move, but it's. I thought of it I called it that over the weekend. I'm like, that's maybe disrespectful. It's just a smart move. It's just smart business. You get Quinn Hughes, and yes, you got to give up pieces. And Bill Guerin's going to say, we didn't want. Yeah, you did, because you get Quinn Hughes. And if you're in Vancouver, the best player arguably in franchise history, your captain is gone. Now it stings that he didn't want to stay, and that's also a sign of where we are with modern athletes. It's a different world. Right, there was a time if you're the captain of a team, they had to drag you out of there. You weren't leaving. You weren't going. It was your team, your room. Now, captains, assistant captains, Mitch did it here. Kachuk did it in Calgary. They're like, no, we're not doing it. We're out of here.
They're going to go where they want to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a different era. And to the credit of Vancouver, he didn't have a no trade or a no movement clause, and they acted on it. And this was always the smart play because your season is sunk. They stink. They're not going anywhere. They're not winning this year. You got to commit to the tank this season, retool, make more trades, and try to get back at it as quickly as you can.
Yeah, and there's already – I saw some tweets about people. I don't know the validity of it, but there's getting people in that building now with no Quinn Hughes and losing every night. I don't honestly think that's a Toronto-type scenario where they're filling that building no matter what.
It's not. I don't think it is. What are you selling? You guys play the role of the marketing team for the Vancouver Canucks. What are you selling to a fan right now? I guess come out and see the new kids. That's probably number one.
You know what? My only barometer in that market is a good friend of mine who is a diehard Canucks fan. And he is ecstatic, but he's also, you know where he said? He goes, okay, what's next? That's what he said. That's basically what he said. What's next? Because there is more shoes to drop because you've got players there that are coveted by other teams. And are you going to move away from Demko? Are you going to move? You just signed Demko to an extension.
Noodles.
Like, are you? So there's still. Is it a retool on the fly? You're getting younger, and you still have pieces there. And Pettersson, you still have Demko.
Well, I'm sure,
you've
Jamie,
got
that's a part of the hope. There's a part of the hope would be that somehow, although there is a subtraction of one of the best players in the game, that there's going to be some kind of different energy, and that they're not all talking about it and thinking about it and in the locker room talking about it every single day, and maybe they just start playing and actually playing better. If that's possible.
Well,
and if that doesn't happen, and then all bets are off.
And when Adam Foote said publicly, "This is in our room," that was the clock was.
That
ticking.
was the last straw.
That was it. When the coach comes out and goes, "Yeah, it's basically a problem. Everyone's wondering about Quinn Hughes and the rumors." You know, Jim Rutherford's been in the league for 50 years. That's not going to take him long to figure out. Like we gotta move off this. And listen, they burned themselves last year. The Pettersson Miller thing. They waited too long. It was a disaster. It was inevitable. You had to move one of them. They waited too long. And that, I'm thinking, is a scary thing if you're in Vancouver, because I've been reading a lot out of Vancouver and trying to, just get a read on fans and how they feel. A lot of people actually point back to the Horvat decision. Why'd you trade that guy? Like, why was he the one that went? And they didn't get enough for him, right?
I think he wanted to stay, though.
Well, again, they weren't that good at that point.
I know, but I'm pretty sure that they didn't want to pay him.
Yeah, I think that's what it was.
Remind me what Horvat was for.
Ratu was the main piece, and there were picks and other prospects, but none of them have capitalized. Yeah. And it was, I think, they looked at it, understandably, like, all right, we're going to pay Pettersson. We got Miller here. We're probably going to have to, we're going to keep Quinn Hughes.
And they traded him.
And they traded him. And they made the wrong choice because then – a couple years later, they're like, well, Miller's got to go because these guys can't get along. And anyway, it sucks if you're a Canuck fan. Today it was announced, and this rumor had been out there for a few days, that Kevin Adams is out as the GM of the Sabres. And you can't look at the track record and say you're shocked, but he's not alone. The ownership down there has hired and fired a lot of GMs and a lot of coaches.
That guy should just sell the team, man. It seems like the Buffalo Sabres to that guy. The Bills are his crown jewel, and the Sabres are just an old sports car sitting in a barn collecting dust, and he doesn't pay enough attention to it. It's like, sell the team.
Again, I'll take the context, but I watched an interview with Rob Ray the other day. And not where he was mad at me.
Your boy, Rob Ray?
My guy, Rob Ray. But
okay.
In him talking about the owner, he said the owner has been unbelievable to the team, and he's dumped a bunch of money in it, and he's a Buffalo guy, and he cares about the city. I just think in looking at the record, the owner has had, again, there's a stat, is it like 8 GMs, 5 GMs, 8 coaches, all these different goalies, all that type of stuff. Like, to me, you got to get the right hire in the GM chair and then let him do his job. I think that's the biggest thing. Now, it was Botterill, it was Kevin Adams. They tried, they did what they could, but ultimately the proof is this is 14 years without a playoff
and they're not going again this year. And Jarmo Kekalainen comes in, and it's always the kiss of death when the guy comes in as an advisor. It was just like that in Ottawa with Jacques Martin, DJ Smith. You're a dead man walking if that guy's coming in as
somebody got brought in that scenario. I just say here,
you're firing me and you're putting that guy in. So just stop with the grandfathering here and let's just do it. But it's another fan base, a great fan base, tons of history, great hockey market, and they just deserve better. It's not much deeper than that. It's a joke that the Sabres have been this bad for so long, and you got to hope that Kekalainen's the guy. All right, we got Dylan Cease on the show today. This is going to be a lot of fun, catching up with one of the newest members of the Blue Jays. We got Luke on Monday night or tonight. We'll get into all the stories in the NFL yesterday. There were some crazy ones. Back into the Leaf game on Saturday. Leafs Blackhawks tomorrow. True bummer. Bedard's hurt, and he's not playing, and he's not playing for at least a month. What does that mean for his Olympic chances? What does it mean for the Leafs in action tomorrow? And, I was looking forward to seeing what Matthews had in store after his game on Saturday. With Bedard here, how do you challenge a kid? Bedard's not playing, but we'll get into the Matthews conversation and where people stand with him. We'll do that next. All right, Dylan Cease later in the hour. Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Luke Wilson in just over half an hour. Pick for the Monday Nighter. We'll get into all the action in the NFL yesterday, something to chew on as well, brought to you by Boston Pizza. So, Noodles, you and I, we were obviously not in the building on Saturday. Oh, you were. And I thought it was a really fun game through 40 minutes. Like, I thought it was a good game, and obviously McDavid showed up to play. And, man, he has put Morgan Riley through a blender a few times in his career. I still don't know what Ekman Larsson was doing on that play, what Riley was doing. I have no idea how you don't look at the best player in the world with a puck and think that's probably a good idea to try to get in that guy's way.
Dude, he's so fast. I think what he does is he forces you into a panic move where it's like, oh, he's going to cut down the left. And then you read it one way, and then by the time, like right here, he's probably thinking, oh, he's going to go. And then it's like, no, he ain't going that way, and he makes you look like an ass.
Yeah, so. He was on fire. Draisaitl was on fire. And, when the best players on the other team are in the fight and ready to play, there's two ways you can compete. Your goaltender is just stands on his head, remarkable. That's asking too much out of Hildeby. He's done that a lot recently. Or your best players have to match or exceed. And the Leafs' best players were not even close. Like, not even close.
I'm not even going to reference William Nylander, what he was doing, because he looked so sick he couldn't even skate.
Right.
So I get it. You're judged as 100% when you put the jersey on and you skate out there. But he was worse than the worst player in the league that night. He couldn't move. Mm-hmm. I was watching him. He had no energy. He shouldn't have been playing. But I give him credit for putting his jersey on and attempting to play.
Right.
But that's all it was an attempt. The big question is what is up with Austin Matthews? Because I was sitting beside a guy at the game, and he's like, well, if McDavid's doing that, what's the Leafs counter? And I said to him, well, you're supposed to look at Austin Matthews, and it is a team game. But if you're looking as kind of this matchup for the last several years has been McDavid versus Matthews. And there have been at times when Matthews has got the better of him. That COVID year in Edmonton, they smoked Edmonton a bunch of times, and they played really well. But there's just and I don't know what it is with Austin Matthews, but they're just the explosiveness and the shot and just him, general excitement and passion. There's just something off with him. I don't know if he's unhappy, if he's injured, if he's pissed off that Mitch left, but there's just something off with him, and nobody knows. But his play is showing us that it's not the same.
No, it's not even close. And that is everyone's trying to either make an excuse for him, and maybe they're not. Maybe it's legit. Like I think a lot of Leaf fans want to believe he's injured, which is not a normal mentality. You don't want to believe that.
But that
hopefully
goes part and parcel
not.
with his play. They're watching his play saying, you didn't age 10 years a year and a half ago.
You're not 38 years old.
No.
Like, he's still in his prime. A year and a half ago, the guy ripped home 69 and was unstoppable. And it's not just Saturday night or just at times this season. It was last year as well. Like, this is beyond just a bad streak. And, I look at where his game is at and the way, even the team is going to handle it. Like, now they got Willie on his line. Matthew Nyes. And Matthew's is not alone. Like, Willie's been sick, but Willie has not played well recently.
No,
Matthew Nyes has 3 goals in his last 18 games. I think John Tavares has 2 or 3 in his last 13 games. Like, all their best players have collectively fallen off. Now, they have been winning recently because their goaltending and defensive play have been much better.
Yeah,
but once
they bought them all in real estate. They're going to bought them.
But that's when you need, when it's going to go the other way and Hildeby is going to have his, I'm in the NHL moment. That's when you need to rely on your best players to step up. And it's not even close. And that's the problem with Matthews in particular, because he's also dealing with something he's never dealt with before, that McDavid has, McKinnon has, Sid has. He has never been in a dark place during the regular season. He's made the playoffs every single year of his career. Every year. he's made the playoffs. Every year it's been uber positive in December. Even if he's in a bit of a slump, you're like, wow, they're on pace for 110 points. And
don't matter, yeah.
He has never been here before. And he's the captain now. There were years past when they were in a dark place and Mitch would be the whipping boy. Or Shanahan would be, the Shanahan plan's not working. Those two, They're gone. Mitch isn't here anymore. Shanahan's not here anymore. Sheldon Keefe, I don't like his style. Not here anymore. Dubas, I don't like, not here. It's Austin Matthews. You're the guy. You're the captain, highest paid player, face of the team. Your team's in a dark place. Like, you're not even really close to the playoffs right now. What are you going to do to get out of it? And quickly, Noodles, I just want to finish this point.
Yep.
He has obviously lost before in the playoffs, but it's sharp. It's acute. You lose, you do your one day, and you're gone. You got 4 more months here, 5 more months. How are you going to get yourself out of this? Right? There isn't a flight to Scottsdale tomorrow. It's not June, July, August. You get 50 games left. He has got to get them out of this. He's got to be better. Because if he's not or he can't be, I don't know where this organization's going to go. Like, how do you project the future if he can't look at himself right now and say, I'm going to be great. I'm going to be great, and I'm going to drag us out of this.
Well, what's concerning me, Hayes, is what if there's something that's, like, preventing him from doing that?
Like a nagging injury.
Yeah, like physically. Well, if there's a nagging injury where he can't perform like he used to, I don't know why it hasn't been taken care of, or maybe you can't take care of it. That's a question that I would have.
Like, then I would explain it at some point. Noodles, you can speak on that. But, like, it is the rubber's hitting the road in the market where people are looking at him saying, what is happening here? So if it is a chronic issue, I know he's very private. I get it. But I feel like you got to throw people a bone and say, this is what's going on, if there is something going on, because it's loud around him right now.
Well, that was my going to be – I have a comment, but I also had a question in there, because I'm not of the belief that Craig Berube has done this to him, because I have seen that narrative out there, right? Berube's style has taken him from a 60-goal scorer to a, whatever it was last year, 33, right? But with injuries. So, but – My thing is I come back to the injury. If he has something chronic, then it is something that might be the new norm for Matthews, whether he's a private guy and he's allowed to, and I respect that. But if he can't get to the level he needs to or wants to, it's frustrating. Like, there's times that we've pointed out in his play. You pointed it out the other day. It was in an overtime. Like, that's usually a shot from distance that could be dangerous for the goaltender. Because he has that. He's the type of guy. He's one of the guys in the league, one of only a few that can score from distance, beat goaltenders with their actual shot.
Jamie, just quickly, some guy tweeted out the other day, he's like, where is this stuff? And there was highlights of him just wheeling down the ice and ripping it from everywhere and it going in. And I get it, sometimes you're on a heater and they go in, but it just looked totally different. There was like a you're not stopping me mentality where it was some speed and just I'm ripping this home, and it's not there. It's not there, man.
Yeah, and it's before the shot. Right. It's how you get there, where you're chugging and you're on your feet and you're moving and you got an attitude about you that is lacking right now.
We've seen flashes. I've seen flashes of plays where he, outside, inside, gets into inside position, strong, and doesn't have the finish. Goalie makes the save. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, that's there. You get another chance like that, he's not going to miss. He just doesn't get another chance that night like that. It's just, I think there's a combination, and I'm not here to make excuses, but I think maybe the first little part was learning to play without Mitch, regardless of whether that's an excuse or not. It's just different. The only other, I was trying to think of comparables. When Marty St. Louis left Tampa, Steven Stamkos had scored 60, I think, with St. Louis, and there was great chemistry and all of that. And Stamkos had to change, who's passing the puck. It wasn't Kucherov right away. It took, there was I think a gap in there. My point being is Austin Matthews now, new line mate, but he has to drive himself in that. Matthew Nyes isn't the overall, he's a straight line player. He's not the most talented as far as passing as far as Mitch. So there is that adjustment. But after the adjustment, it's the player. Like, what do you bring to the table? Because at some point you can't go. You're 32 games in.
And that's the thing. Like, Mitch was here last year,
right?
And it didn't happen. Also, when he was chasing 70, he was playing with Domi and Bertuzzi.
Right.
He was not playing with Mitch Marner. Yeah. Down the stretch, he was with Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi, and the guy was like, just go stand over there.
Yeah, the other superstar the other night, 29, he was going out there with Podkolzins and Savoie. So,
and looking like a giant and basically saying, come get some if you want it. So let's play the Berube clip here too, because Craig spoke on him today, and I credit Berube because it wasn't sugarcoating. He said, got to be better, and he's not alone, and he's right. But here's what Berube had to say about the leadership and what's needed from them after the third period on Saturday.
I talked to the team after the game, and it's, our leaders got to take control of it a lot more than they are right now. And, to me, it's all a mindset, whether you're down a goal, we're up in the San Jose game, like, you just got to have more urgency and being more direct on how we want to play. We didn't do it in the third period 2 games in a row.
Guys, you can mince that up and chop that up and put it any kind of way, talk about mindsets, physicality. At the end of the day, in that league, it's about production from your best players. And if they're not doing it, you're going to have a coach talking like that. It's not about anything else. It's about your best guys getting it done and producing. Obviously, there's avenues to get that done, and Craig wants it done a certain way, but that's what that's all about, is the best guys not being on the score sheet for some time now, and it's costing them, and he's bringing it up, and he's just addressing it a different way. Top players, that's always been the game, man. You got to produce, and if you don't, your team's probably jammed up.
100%. I found it interesting that he made that comment, and then Austin did not speak with the media after the game.
That is absurd.
That, to me, is not a good look, because the instincts of the Leafs are, we got to protect this guy. From day one, protect.
You're a captain of a team.
Captain
you get dummied at home, you've got to speak.
You've got to speak, and he didn't speak. And I look at the player for that, too, because I think the team is in the wrong here. They should have gone to him and said, you got to speak. He was requested. I also look at him, though. He's been in the league 10 years. He's the captain. He's got to say, I'm going. I'm speaking. Like, I even if you're pitching to me, it's best for me to take a night off. I can't. I won't talk on Monday at the practice. 82 times a year, if you're the captain, you've got to speak. Win or lose, unless you're getting treatment or you're injured or something, you got to
be available to speak. They might want to talk to somebody else who got a hat trick or something. But you could be available.
They obviously weren't on Saturday, Noodles.
Right.
I know, and they sent Scott Laughton out, which I think is a smart play because Scott's speaking. Like, Laughton's a captivating guy, and he falls on the sword, and I thought he said all the right things. I think Laughton has been a breath of fresh air in terms of accountability and saying not good enough, and that's great. But you have to have your captain out there speaking after a game like that, especially when your coach goes, I just challenged the leaders of the team to basically be more accountable. How does it jive? Got to be more accountable. Captain not available to speak. It doesn't work. It doesn't add up. It shouldn't happen.
That's crazy that he didn't speak after the game.
Yeah, he should speak every single game. Your captain has to speak every single game. They have to. It comes with the territory. It's an honor. It's a privilege. You've got it. You got to speak, and especially after that performance Saturday night. McDavid's running wild on you. You got to speak.
But from game one, like, just about his performance, and we all watch every one of his shifts very closely. When I'm on the panel, super close, and from game one until now, it's just what Jamie mentioned. There's little flashes, and that's all there is. And, Hayes, you use the term a lot, blending into a game, which means you look like all the other guys on the ice. He's never done that. He's never been like that. So there's something up, and nobody knows what the hell it is. So
we'll get into it more later this afternoon, certainly into tomorrow when the Leafs are playing Chicago. We'll get into Bedard's injury and what that could mean for him, Team Canada, the Blackhawks. Dylan C's coming up on why he chose the Jays, what he thinks he can bring to the clubhouse here. We'll catch up with Luke Wilson as well in about 25 minutes. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app. All right, Luke Wilson in studio in about 15 minutes on the Mahomes injury, the Parsons injury, the play of Josh Allen. We'll get to all that and back into the Leafs and how they respond. going into a game tomorrow night with Chicago in town. No Bedard, though. Bedard will not play. Yeah. And that is a struggle, man. Like, we've been talking about the superstars rolling through town, and he's not going to be available. But
I wonder what it does to his chances, man.
We'll get to that into the 5 p.m. hour, 100%. Yeah. You talk about guys rolling through town, though. A lot of people excited for our next guest to officially make his debut here in Toronto. He just signed a 7-year, $210 million deal. Dylan Cease of the Toronto Blue Jays. And we began by asking him, hey, it's been about a week now. What does it feel like to be a Blue Jay?
Yeah, it feels great. You know, I mean, I haven't I guess it's a little awkward sort of talking on behalf of the team and whatnot because I haven't been a part of anything yet, and I haven't really proven myself in any way yet. But I'm excited for the opportunity, and yeah, I mean, it's very special.
Dylan, can you take us through your quick kind of 1, 2, 3 checklist? I think any athlete, I mean, just the way I look at it, number one would be money all the time. If the money's right, then you go to 2 or 3. So if money's around 1 or 2, how do you go through the checklist after that? Is it winning? Is it clubhouse culture? What was your checklist like?
Yeah, I mean, those are all factors. You know, it's the business side of it. It's how, for me, it was the business. How are they going to develop and help me be the most consistent player I can be? And then, you know, does the team have a good chance of winning every year? And the Blue Jays pretty easily checked all of those boxes.
So in which way? Like when you say they can get you, like you're a veteran guy. You've had 200-plus strikeouts for 5 straight seasons. You're healthy all the time. You're on the bump every 5 days. How can the Jays get that even better? Like, in which way do you see this improving, and how did they actually pitch that idea to you where you said, okay, that's what I want to hear?
Yeah, I mean, they sit you down and they show you, you know, it's honestly really impressive. They show you, you know, hey, man, if you change your grip with this pitch, you can get this kind of movement, and we see, you know, and I'm not getting into too much detail there with you, but, you know, they can basically, by how you release the ball and different things that you do, can tell you, hey, we think you can add this pitch, do this, or we think we can improve what's already there, or we think we can help you with your mechanics, things like that. And you know, at a high level, when you start winning in the margins and you start being more consistent with things like that, and you have people behind you that will maximize, you know, that's what it's all about. So I was pretty blown away with what they've got on the development side, and that's important to me. I have been around for a while, but if you're not willing to evolve and continue to learn and grow in the game, it's going to pass you by. So you know, I really I want to be a consistent top end pitcher. You know, not 1 year great, 1 year average, 1 year great.
That's pretty cool stuff. Like, any pushback from you, or you said, actually, I'll continue to do what I've been doing and I'm not going to change on that front?
No, not at all.
No?
Not at all.
100% commitment. I love it. I love it.
I'm 100% in.
Chatting with Dylan Cease. Go ahead, Noodles.
When you sign the deal, who's the first on the team to reach out to you?
Good question. Maybe Ross or Schneid, maybe. I'd have to go look at the call log. I mean, it was I had 1 million people from every walk of life reaching out at that point. So, but yeah, I mean, you know, all the leadership positions for sure.
Well, this team has an impeccable reputation right now in terms of their clubhouse and the connection all the players have. You know, I've lived here my whole life, but you hear it sometimes. You don't know if you really believe it. This one, it really lands. You know, whether it's the players, the staff, the media, the fans, like everyone seemed to pick up on that. I'm curious if you've picked up on that so far and how you think you can contribute to what seems to be a great clubhouse.
Yeah, that's all I heard about it. You know, I mean, that is important. You know, I mean, there wasn't a negative thing about the organization in general that I heard. And on top of it, to hear that the clubhouse was as strong and together as it was is, you know, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, they almost won the World Series. It you know, I think the proof is in the pudding. Yeah, and for me to add to it, it's really, I think, by just, I don't know, being myself and just assimilating into the culture and not trying to make things about myself, really just trying to play in the mindset, in the sense of sacrificing for the team and doing what needs to be done. And it's really that simple. I really don't want things about me. I just want to perform and do my job well.
So, Dylan, what was your impression of Toronto before you joined the organization? I mean, Jeff talked about checking things off as far as obviously signing the deal, money, culture, all of that type of stuff. But from an opposing player, what was your impression of flying into Toronto, playing the Blue Jays, maybe the city or the culture or that made it attractive outside of the other things that we talked about?
Yeah, it's always been cool. I haven't had the opportunity to explore Toronto too much, but it always feels a little exotic, a little foreign when you fly in. And, that's one thing is I've really spent more time now trying to learn about the culture and learning about what's important to Canadians and really what is behind Toronto. It's obviously a major big city. And I still don't know, probably 1/100th of what I'm going to even learn this year. But, I've always enjoyed my time there. And I'm really looking forward to, experiencing the culture and, seeing, what's important to you guys and just being a part of the city.
Well, you're going to pick up on how much we love that 1992 Blue Jay team. And I know you're an Atlanta guy. You were born a few years after that, but I'm curious how much you heard about that from your parents, your aunts, uncles, grandparents. How much did you? How much does that still burn? The Jays winning and beating the Braves.
We focus on 95 more than anything before that.
As you should. You did get them back, I guess. Not necessarily against the Jays, but there is that history, which is pretty cool. And I know you grew up where your dad. I think you had a twin brother, and he was coaching you guys. Yep. All the way up. I want to say I read that your grandmother was a professional player at some point.
Yeah, she did. I'm not sure if it's exactly like a league of their own, but essentially I think it was pretty much that. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So how much do you lean on that your family, your friends, and kind of helping you get into the position that you're currently in?
Yeah, and growing up, I mean, my dad. We would go out and he'd hit me ground balls all day, throw to me all day, catch my bullpens. And then I had I have a twin brother, so he would sit in the bucket and I would pretend to be a big leaguer and he'd be a catcher, and then vice versa all day. We would, wiffle ball, stick ball, hitting things. It was just nonstop. Basically playing and practicing and doing baseball. So. My parents were very dedicated to it, and they knew it was something that we enjoyed, and it's something that, while they didn't really have to push us very hard because I think we loved it, they always supported us and made sure that we had everything that we needed, and we were heading in the right direction.
Well, it's obviously led to a great career and a big signing up here in Toronto. We're chatting with Dylan Cease, and I mentioned your stats earlier. You have a reputation for being reliable, for being healthy, over 200-plus strikeouts, 5 straight seasons. How much work goes into that? Like, how do you prepare for a new season and get your body ready so that you can be available? Because it's such a theme in pro sports today. Can a guy play? Is he going to get through a rotation? Is whatever sport it is, football, hockey, baseball, basketball. How have you managed to kind of get through the grind?
Yeah, you definitely have to set yourself up in the off season by preparing and lifting weights and doing everything that needs to be done. And then, in the season, it's maybe a little bit less oriented on the weights and maybe more oriented on recovery. And really, I've always been around good staffs that help take care of me. And you get your massages, you do your shoulder work. And, for me, I take pride in taking the ball no matter what. So there's a lot of times where you got a pitch where it doesn't feel good, or maybe you were sick or are sick or didn't sleep well or whatever it is, and it's just a part of the job, really. So, unless something is seriously wrong, I'm going to take the ball and I'm going to try to find a way. And I can't really take all the credit for that. There's a lot of people along the way that have helped me do that, and still to this day are helping me do that.
With Dylan Cease. Yeah, and you mentioned, off the top there, Dylan, we'll get you out of here on this question, that, felt a little bit awkward talking on behalf of the team because you haven't, joined them yet and you haven't had a chance to prove yourself. Yeah. When you say, you use that term, prove yourself, like how much of it is, I got to prove it to my teammates, I got to prove it to ownership who just gave me this contract, all this money, I got to prove it to the fans who are now so excited to have you up here.
Yeah, for sure. I want to earn people's respect. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to be perfect over this contract. There's going to be times where I don't perform, and I know that. But I want to show up and I want to earn people's respect, and it's really, yeah, I mean, it's as simple as that. Obviously, I want to go out and throw a no-hitter every day and do all amazing things that are part of a season, but it's a grind. It's a game of failure. It's a game of, mental fortitude and not giving up. So I want to have the right process and the right mindset with everything and just go in and give everything I have consistently. And that's why I'm excited to be a part of a clubhouse like this and a culture like this, because it makes it that much easier when you do fail to get back up. It makes it that much easier when you're going through the hard times. And, having people that you trust, which I'm still in the process of building that with the staff, they're going to learn to trust me and my personality, and I'm going to learn to trust them and how they operate. And, it makes it like I said, with the development side, it makes it that much easier to go into a season confident and handle things that need to be handled, because there is that team behind you. There is that support behind you. And at the end of the day, I really just want to perform and win, and I feel like this is a team and a culture that is, pretty much built on that.
Well, we're excited to have you up here. I know I could speak for Blue Jay
Thank you.
fans, too. They can't wait to obviously see you in the spring and then see you once you get back up here. And tons of buzz about this team, as you can imagine. The 11th inning, Game 7 of the World Series. It's right there. There's people waiting to get it over the top, and hopefully you'll help them do just that. Congrats on the deal. Welcome to Toronto, and we'll catch up again in the spring.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
There he is, Dylan Cease. He's a rich man. Sounds like a happy man, confident man. I like what he said there, though, right? It's not always going to be perfect, but you can rely on the clubhouse if it's a good clubhouse to get you through that.
Yeah, and great job by Doogie and JP for all the mixing and matching and work behind the scenes to pull that one off.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Legends
Work,
behind the scenes,
Yeah, because
as always.
Doogie originally was prepared to pull the plug on it, but he made it happen.
He was going to quit on us, and then they had to lean in. JP, I think him and JP got into it behind the glass.
I think somebody else had a fair say in
There
it.
might have been some comments.
Every once in a while, right? We all got to contribute in some way. I like that. I think it all worked out for everyone and the best in the end. So shout out to Dylan Cease, Doogie, JP, Joe from the Bridge, everyone behind the scenes. All right, Luke's coming up on the greatness of Josh Allen. What happens now with Mahomes and his ACL? What happens with Parsons and the Packers and his ACL? That and more still to come. Hour 2 up next. Overdrive continues up on YouTube Live.
Well, yesterday at approximately, I would say from the time of 1 o'clock to 1:40, I felt like an absolute wizard. A wizard. And I thought I earned my keep with my new Parsies, and they probably thought so too.
Yeah.
21-0 for my Pats. For my Pats. And as soon as that rat Gabe Davis returned it to start the second half, I knew it. I text Hayes, I said, massive trouble right away.
Big trouble.
Yeah.
It was 28-24 before you could even flinch. Luke is with us, for the record. And I don't know if you were heavy on the Pats as well or thought that they would have a decent performance. It turned into a great game, but
it was awesome.
It was a great game, but man, I can't sit here and lie to you guys. Like when it was 21-0, even 24-7, I'm like, this is over. The Pats look great. The Bills didn't show up, and everyone had to chew on their words, but man, did Buffalo. That's 2 weeks in a row they've stormed back on teams.
I'll tell you this too, O-Dog. I'm sitting there, and I'm watching that start, and I'm like, where was this O-Dog on my team? This guy stood on the table. I'm like, how come we didn't have any of these plays for me? And then all of a sudden it starts coming back.
Then I turned into the old O-Dog for you.
Yeah, he did. Fredo dog. Like the guy I knew that. I told you, man. You're a sports guy. You're a sports guy.
Shut up. I have to say one thing.
Go ahead.
There was some ridiculous tweets out there with people claiming that the Pats are back on top of the league. Everything runs through New England again. It's all good. And then after they were like, I have to chew on it. I can't believe I tweeted that out. Yeah. That was insane, man.
It was
5 straight possessions. They had a TD. Like, get serious, New England. You folded like a cheap Arthur Zerbe suit.
I'm smart and I want respect.
afraid O-Dog with his pads.
I agree. And O-Dog, what's crazy about it, and you got to give Josh Allen his flowers, but this is very good defense. This is a very good Patriots defense. This is not some slouch unit that can't stop anybody. Now, granted, you could say, they haven't played anybody, whatever. This unit has done well pretty much against every team, and you give them a 21-0 lead and then 24-7, and I'm like, there's no way. And on the flip side, the fact that the Patriots are running the ball or rushing the ball basically at will, doing whatever they want, I'm like, there is no world in which Buffalo is coming back today. And Josh Allen, and I said it on Jay last night, but right now, Josh Allen is the best football player on planet Earth, and it is not close. Yeah. It's just not close.
Is he going to repeat his MVP, or is the other kid, like, does Drake May have a shot at winning an MVP?
Now I would say no, but you look at Matthew Stafford yesterday. He did throw a pick early to Aiden, but I think he ended with like 368.
So are those your three guys, Drake May, Josh Allen, and Matthew Stafford?
Yeah, and I'd throw Phillip Rivers in there too, but...
Oh, dude.
Hey, that was a great story, though.
It was. Dude, he's huge.
Yeah,
dude,
he's big boy.
Like, you know he's huge when they said to him, how much do you weigh right now? And he goes, good question. I don't even know.
Yeah.
When somebody in like some sort of athletic field says, I don't know, it means they're a monster.
Dude, he looked like Andy Reid when he was 13 at that kick, punt, and catch thing,
Luke,
whatever it was.
You got to tell me, man. Like, I love Phillip Rivers, like old school NC State guy when I was there. And it's, you have to ask yourself, how did he become the option that they wanted to go with?
So
how?
That's the million-dollar question. It is a fun story. You know, he's 44.
It's great, but how is he the best option, dude?
I don't know. And that's just the reality situation. Is I would assume he's obviously has some connections there, et cetera, with the coaching staff. But when you work him out, you know, and beyond how big he is, his arm was just weak. So part of what happened yesterday, I thought his brain, not surprising, was very sharp. You saw him go to the line a lot, check protections. He kept himself clean. But everything's underneath. And even when they were down, it's like, hey, we're not going to push this ball down the field because he can't do it. And it's tough to win games in this league when you cannot push the ball down the field. And I'll tell you what's even more shocking to me is I believe they just announced that he's starting next week.
Well, they've committed to him now, right? Like,
I guess, but like...
You either cut him, but...
I wouldn't cut him. I'd be like, listen,
then he's going
Daniel
home.
Jones, I mean, Daniel Jones was under a one-year deal, had a broken leg, and on his other leg, a torn Achilles. So I don't know how they're going to shape that. I don't know what their plans are. Yeah, Riley Leonard is a 6th-round pick, but he's your 6th-round pick. See what he's made of. See if there's something there. Like, why do you draft a guy in the 6th round if you think he's garbage? Which I don't think. I'm not saying they do. It's
very
like, hey,
reasonable.
Bill,
very reasonable question, but I think if you get a grandfather off the couch, he's coming back to play, and they've obviously made that commitment to him.
It's crazy to me. It's a crazy take. Their season's over. Look at their schedule. They've got San Fran this week, who, by the way, needs to win. San Fran needs to continue to win in order to make the playoffs.
Right.
Then Jacksonville. And there's a world, depending on how things go, that Jacksonville can be moving up that. Right now, obviously, they're in the division with the Texans, but I think they can also potentially get the 2 seed,
right,
depending on how things shake out here. So Jacksonville, and then you end with Houston, I believe, which is the best defense in the league. Like, come on.
No, it's not going to work. It was a Hail Mary of all Hail Marys. It was cool to see him out there. I think he's handled it, but it also would have been embarrassing if he won.
Seattle, that was pretty
It was
telling.
too close. If you're Seattle, you're going back to the drawing board saying, what the hell was that?
What happened with their offense?
Yeah, that was troubling, but I want to get back to Allen and, where he is. I think Stafford probably kept pace. For me, Drake May cannot win the MVP over Josh Allen now. Like, I put that much stock into what just happened. Like, May has had a soft schedule, played really well. Josh Allen is a one-man show.
Sure.
Like, it's just, to me, it's not even close. And I think the same thing with Stafford, quite frankly, because
he's not close to Josh this season?
No, yes.
Come on,
in terms of the value, man, the Bills are not that good. They have one guy who's not human. You just said it. There's no one close to him in the league right now.
Well,
I agree.
Is the interpretation of the MVP in the NFL the same as the NHL? Most valuable to their team.
That's what it's called. Right. I know. I get it. It's
but you've got
arbitrary. But
like, let's say right now, and Hayes, everything you said is completely valid, and I agree. Okay, but statistically speaking, Matthew Stafford is having an unbelievable year.
Yes.
And if they win on Thursday, which is a big if, that'll be a tough matchup. Short week, Seattle, that defense, etc., division game. But if they win after that, they're most likely going to get the 1 seed. So, yeah, and because I believe it's 2 softballs. I think Arizona's in there and maybe Atlanta. Don't quote me on that for the Rams I'm talking about.
He's been great.
You're going to not give it to Matthew after he gets a 1 seed and Josh Allen's going to be the 5? Now, if you're looking at it like who's more valuable to their team, yes, it's Josh.
Yeah.
But winning also matters. Not that they haven't won in Buffalo, but they're not going to win most likely not going to win the division.
Most likely not going to. And I hear all that. I look at Stafford. He's been great. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. He's got 2 weapons there. Adams has been great for them.
Phenomenal.
And Puka's
phenomenal.
Yeah, he's great. I look at it similarly, different position to what Saquon was last year, maybe to what Lamar was last year. Like this Bills team's worse than they were last year.
This is.
I would agree with that.
Winning. I would agree with that.
He's playing that well. He's unstoppable. Like,
I agree.
He broke Vrabel. Vrabel's like, what do you want me to say? 6'5", 250. We can't tackle him. He's too good. His arm is like it's just unbelievable to hear other coaches talk about the guy.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching that game yesterday, and the fact that they won that, I'm like, this is nuts. Nuts, man. You need a couple stops. That game's over. Mm-hmm. Josh Allen. And the funny part is, like, Josh acts after the game like, oh, no big deal. What do you mean? I do this every week?
Yeah.
Like,
that's incredible.
I'm with you, and if
he was unreal.
If it's straight value to his team, yeah, Josh Allen. But unfortunately, in the NFL, the 1 seed is going to matter. Now, if Matthew loses the 1 seed, I think now it becomes a little more of a question.
Okay. Something to chew on brought to you by Boston Pizza's NFL Game Day menu. Stop by your local BP for $7 touchdown pints, dialed-in shareables, and weekly prizing up for grabs. Football game days are better at BP. With the news of Mahomes, which you can cycle into your answer here, it sucks. I mean, torn ACL, lost season, they're out of the playoffs. Now he's got to rehab and hopefully get back for week 1 next year. No guarantees. Can Josh Allen surpass Patrick Mahomes on the all-time great list?
No.
Is it possible?
No.
It's impossible for Allen to do.
Sorry, right now? Like in 1 year?
No, we're talking like by the end of their careers.
Oh, yes.
Is the door still
possible.
open for Allen to catch him where you say that guy was better than Mahomes?
Yes, the door is open, but it's a very, very – that door is far. I thought you meant – when I said no right away, I thought you meant this season.
No.
The guy, that to me is a long shot, man.
It's a long
shot. It's a long shot.
Dude.
Yeah. He's been to 5 of them.
I'll say this. Yesterday we had a graphic on Jay's show that was basically the Chiefs' last X amount of years.
8 years. I saw it.
And it was like, even looking at it, it seems, I mean, I've witnessed all of it, but it was unbelievable to even look at. Like, I was in the league for some of it, and I'm like, no, there's no way anyone did this.
Crazy.
It's just, it's generational. It just really is. And he's done it with different guys. He's done it in different situations.
Is it over,
across
though,
the board.
Parksy?
No, absolutely not. It's not over. Not over.
Okay, what are they going to do?
So this is what I'd say right now when you watch the Chiefs, okay? This roster is not a bad roster. Is it the best roster? No. But here's one for you guys. Outside of the running back and let's call it the offensive line, I'm not sure there's a position you don't take the Chiefs over compared to the Bills.
Tight end, I would.
Tight end, sure, you've got Kelsey's a bit older.
Kelsey's
but
toast. He's
Kincaid, I wouldn't call Kincaid a top 3-4 guy right now. He's been injured. He has had moments where he's been great. Mm-hmm. But it's like wide receiver room, absolutely not.
But what about the quarterback position?
Yeah, so let's call that a wash. And you go to defense, you're taking the Chiefs' defense all day. Mm-hmm. All day. So my point here is, like, the defense is very solid still. Are they the best unit? No, but it's a good unit. They have a great coach in Spags. I think their wide receiver room is good. Rashee Rice, obviously Xavier Worthy. Both those guys are young. Why
are they putting up so many low-scoring games?
There's a combination of reasons for that. But one, I call it bad ball, junk football. But, like, the Chiefs, to me, played awful all year. And I think yesterday was a microcosm. And I get to the point where, and I don't know if it's similar in hockey, but you're so much better than your roster or than your record, you start pressing. Like, I look at yesterday's game, and it's 3rd and 12, and you're down 3, and I think it was like somewhere around the 20-ish yard line, and Mahomes throws a jump ball to Kareem Hunt, who's in man coverage. He is not open one bit. He is not a jump ball running back, and it gets picked off.
Yeah.
And right there, it's like, that's a field goal. And then, granted, it wasn't Mahomes, but at the end of the game, I'm like, you're pretty much in field goal range. Granted, it was deep. You got Gardner Minshew in there. And Minshew catches a snap, stares directly at Travis Kelce, does not look anywhere else. He is covered, and he throws it, underthrows it, even though he's covered, which is now the kiss of death, because maybe you throw it, and try and have Kelce high point it, and the game's over. And it's like, you can sit there and be like, yo, what has happened to the Chiefs? I'm like, well, there's no excuses for these two plays. Like, they're not.
Look, it's all under one umbrella. Like the roster, personnel, schemes, it's all under the one umbrella, which is underachieving.
They underachieved across the board.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, obviously, they're being compared to the Pats run, and it is eerily similar where, he has torn his ACL in year 9, the same year Brady did it, I believe against the same team. Pretty sure it was against the same team.
That's creepy.
I think so. Wow. Which is kind of wild. But what Brady knew when he recovered was that Belichick was still going to be there for a long time. I wonder about Andy Reid. Like, is Andy Reid going to stay on throughout his whole career? Is he going to coach him for the next 10 years? I don't have an answer for that, but he's not a young guy. Not that Belichick was. But how do you, get into that next stage now? If you're Mahomes, you got to recover from this. You got to get through it, which he will, but how does he look? How skittish is he when he returns from an ACL injury? We're not going to have that answer until he actually shows it and we see it. But they're going to have to find him, that next layer. He's not going anywhere. He's still going to be great.
Yeah.
But you got to trust your organization here. Like, Brady had the ability to do it, and Brady had another 10, 12, 15-year career post-ACL.
Yeah.
That's the question with Mahomes.
I'll say this, Hayes, again, what I think you're in a good spot with Kansas City is roster-wise, part of what's happening right now, they did bolster the offensive line, but they all got hurt. They're rookie, they drafted, started. They went out and got the swing tackle. I believe he was from San Fran. Both those guys got hurt, Simmons and Moore. But you probably go get an interior guy through the draft or through free agency, and you got to address the running back room because I'm not sure what's going on there. It's never really been a super focal point for an Andy Reid offense. He's more of a plug-and-play guy. But I think with this knee injury, you're saying, hey, let's get a little more help here. And now all of a sudden you roll out here, and again, you got to figure out what's going on at tight end as well. That's probably another one. But it's like you're not that many pieces away from being an elite team. And the thing I'll say about this year, too, if you look at all of their losses, we'll see how it shakes out. But I think every loss they have, I don't know if Doogie can bring this up, is to an eventual playoff team. Mm-hmm. Again, there might be one in there that I'm missing, but the Bills, their Chargers twice.
I guess it'll
Denver.
get a bit easier next year for them.
What about Reid? Do you think Andy Reid's completely safe? It would be an automatic that he comes back regardless of it.
Safe.
Yeah. It'd be his call if he wants to retire.
I'll say this, Hazen, to answer your Andy Reid thing, I don't know Andy Reid. I've heard good things about the guy. But I do think for him, there's probably a legacy motivation. Yes, he has nothing left to prove. But, if Mahomes comes back and they can win a few more, you're talking about best coach in the history of the NFL. I think right now, most people would say, as much as it pains me to say this, it's unanimously Bill Belichick. Where if Andy Reid wins a couple more with Patty Mahomes, which I think they can, now all of a sudden it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah, that's got to be very motivating for sure. All right, Micah Parsons, torn ACL. He's done.
Brutal.
Is the door closed now in a Super Bowl for Green Bay?
Not closed, but it's barely open. It's barely open compared to what it was. I mean, Hayes, I know you're a Pack guy. Devastating day. First off, you go from the 2 seed down to I can't even watch this. I feel sick.
He was chugging last night, too, man.
Yes.
He's been so good the last few weeks.
He's been on fire.
Yeah.
And you go from the 2 seed to the 7 seed. The next 2 teams you play have very mobile quarterbacks in Caleb Williams and Lamar Jackson. Jeff Hafley, the D coordinator, is going to have to change not his entire system, but a lot of play calling. We'll see how much the back end now, because my guess is they're going to pressure a little more. It's a devastating loss from so many different angles. And in an NFC that is loaded right now, when you look at the NFC West and the teams in there, you look at the NFC North. the Bears, them, and the Lions. Like, I understand the Lions are on the outside looking in. They took the Rams to the brink last night, or yesterday afternoon, I should say. It's like this NFC is it's juggernaut after juggernaut in there. Philadelphia has the ability. We'll see what actually happens. Not having Micah Parsons in the playoffs is I can't stress enough how big of an ordeal that is.
I unfortunately think it just shuts the door. The whole defense revolves around him. They've been tough. They've been tougher. They've been good against the run, which they haven't been in years. He gets double teamed basically every snap, and he still makes plays. He was so good the last handful of weeks. And I don't know how you recover from that. And what it's going to do is put pressure on the offense. And Watson got hurt again yesterday.
And that's another.
If Watson's out,
big loss.
It's a huge loss because they had that game. I got to give credit to Denver, and Bo Nix was slinging it yesterday, man. He had himself a game. He was really good.
And we lost another spread.
That's right.
Yeah.
You guys did. You had that game, man.
We were there.
Green Bay was on fire. And
we did well, though. We made up one.
Yeah, we made up one. We chipping away.
Chip away, slow and steady.
Well, what do we think tonight? I mean, this is a big game for both teams. Pittsburgh and Miami.
Can I kind of give you generally how my day works with these spreads right now? So I'm having the worst spread years of my life, as everyone knows. So I'm like, all right, you can't. Quitting's not in me here. We're obviously getting beat down. We take one back yesterday. So I'm looking at this thing. It's 3, correct, Doogie, for the Steelers? Mm-hmm. Okay, gives me a thumbs up. So I'm like, all right, game's in Pittsburgh. So, Noodles, I'm gonna ask you to steer the ship for me. I'm going to give you a lot of information.
Yep, give it to me.
Generally speaking, on this show, we operate under one premise. The Finns are frauds. Okay, but then you're like, wait, the Finns, they've won some games, like 4 in a row, 5 of their last 6. The only legitimate win in there is against Buffalo, obviously a great win. But the other wins are complete garbage, slop, trash. Right. Now I think Tua in a cold weather game, and I'm like, there's no way we don't take the Steelers. But then we flip this around. You look at Pittsburgh's defense. They have been very, very bad. I think they're bottom 6 in yards given up. Okay, they have not been good against the run. They are not good against the pass. Okay, the defense has been a struggle all year. T.J. Watt, who is their best defensive player, has a collapsed lung and is not playing. Okay,
Tua and cold weather should trump everything.
Don't let Noodles. I agree, but don't let O-Dog sway us. We saw what he did this weekend.
I understand, but listen. What I'm trying to a lot of times when I sit back and listen.
Yeah. So.
Okay, finish your thought.
I went to Dennis Barham, who is the biggest Steelers fan. He's like the Steelers whisperer. This guy, he's always right. Dennis. I'm like, Dennis, I need a bone here, man. I can't see the board to save my life. And he was very hesitant, but he went with the Steelers covering. But on the walking in here, there's a gentleman out here. His name's Norm. I'm not going to try and pronounce his last name. It's a French last name. Norm is my guy. We also kind of joke that he's Dennis's son. He's like his little minion at work. I asked Norm.
Norm DiSerono?
And Norm went.
Norm Peterson. We love Norm.
Don't listen to Norm.
Norm said to me, I think I'd lean Miami. And now I'm in a blender.
Now I'm
in a blender, Noodles.
I want to just listen. I always try and listen to the information and everything. The problem is
Norm.
Yeah, I'm not listening to Norm. Here's what it is, Luke. I think sometimes you're so smart, you try and find things into both sides and go, I can see this, but I could also see this.
Totally.
Go with your instinct. Go with the Steelers for covering. I feel like...
I think Tua serves up a pick tonight. He leads the league. I think he's tied for first interceptions. And turnover-worthy plays, he's at 23.
If I have to see that coach driving down the street in the car trying to be a hero or whatever, remember, who was it against the Bills?
The Bills game, after they beat the Bills. Not doing that in Pittsburgh, I guarantee you.
He's not doing that. Somebody will sucker him, too, drag him out of the car.
That's a blue-collar
I'll say this, Noodles. We have to stop the run, though. When I say the Steelers have to figure out a way to slow down H.A.
Lock it in.
I just
relax.
Lock it in one way or the other.
We're talking it out. We're flushing it out.
We're flushing it out.
Do you believe in this Norm guy or not? I feel like I know Norm from work too. But
we all know Norm. Norm Peterson. We love
it's
Norm.
Not. His last name's not Peterson.
I know. I'm joking. It's
Norm Peterson's from Cheers.
Normie and Cliff. That's who you're relying on.
Yeah. Do not. I think Dennis is a genius.
I do too.
Okay, make the pick.
Okay, Steelers.
All right, Steelers it is. Locking it in. I'm okay with that, Noodles. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with. I think that might be the right play. It's a tough read because Miami's been off the radar. They're just winning games and no one's paying attention.
Agreed.
Everybody
now, one of
wrote them
those
off
was
when
like
they had
an
those
overtime
stupid
win
press
against the
conferences.
Commanders in Real Madrid or Madrid.
I know
no,
there's
Real
been some
Madrid.
goofy wins, but they're still finding a way. How about this story quickly before we get you out of here? The Cincinnati Bengals, I'm sure you guys saw this.
Put up a 0 spot?
Well, yeah, but the game was at home and it snowed and they didn't clear the seats.
Yeah.
And
That's weird. Yeah.
Well, this owner's the worst owner in sports. Paul Brown is his name. He's a
like it's
disaster.
a kick in the junk to the fan base, isn't
Your
it?
team
It
stinks. You're not going anywhere. You have a brutal stadium. You've played there, Luke. It's
Awful.
terrible.
Yeah,
it's
it's not
probably the
great.
worst stadium in the league. And you get snow, and they don't clear the snow. They just left it on the seats and said, well, people can just sweep it off or the ushers are there to help.
Lazy.
Outrageous behavior by a professional football team.
And what's,
Get Joe Burrow out of there, please.
And that's the thing. What's tough is like, don't run. The guys aren't going to care that much. But then when you go to the contract negotiation, when you think like, hey, if you're a free agent, and given the rumors of how in the past they've had some issues, and even this year, like in the division, and I get it, but you traded away your middle linebacker, that can't help. It's like, yeah, we're not trying to win here. Like there's certain organizations you go to as a free agent and you realize that like when you go there, you're going there for whatever reason, but it's one, not to win a championship, and two, that you're not really going to get support from that front office.
Right. Like it's a miracle they were in a Super Bowl. And they were. And Burrow was just so good that year, and he stayed healthy.
Totally.
But he just looks so dejected, and it's just a mess. It's a mess. All right, you guys are locking in. Steelers -3 tonight.
Noodles.
Yeah.
Again, we're in shambles, man, but next week I believe there's 7 games because there's 2 on Saturday.
A lot
I
of
think
games.
there's a chance. We'll be fine.
there's
What
7
we
on
need
Christmas.
is, what we
Boxing
need is a
Day.
little bit of luck here. Holiday
Yeah,
luck.
we need some.
Okay.
You're getting jammed up with these spreads. You're getting jammed up
I
with
agree.
bad beats at the last second. Let's just relax. Let's
Okay.
get one tonight and then go back at it.
Good luck to you, Partsy.
I'm thinking about trading back for O-Dog if we win tonight.
Oh, man, he's a hot commodity.
I like that O-Dog, put his what on the table.
I think he's available. He might be available. Those other two.
We both told him
get
the
rid
Bills. Man, you got Josh Allen in a desperate situation.
Dude, you
against
be
the-
quiet, dude.
Like,
you
that
knew
was
that
the
I
lock
made the
of the
right pick.
century, the
I made the
Bills.
right pick, and they coughed it up.
Okay. All right.
Like 21 Cobb. Give me a break, dude.
I told you, do not bet against that freak in Western New York. He ain't losing that game. There was no way, and he didn't.
It was in Massachusetts.
Yes, I'm aware of that. Thank you. All right, Luke, best of luck tonight.
Cheers,
As always.
boys.
There it is, Luke Wilson. All right, back into Leafs Blackhawks tomorrow, and Connor Bedard's injury. Does that take him out of the Olympic team? We'll get to that next. All right, best bets a little bit later in the hour. Monday night, a bunch of hockey games. Tampa, Florida playing tonight, which you always have to circle.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Goon show. I got to tell you guys on Thursday. I think it was Thursday the Quinn Hughes trade went down, or was it Friday?
Friday night.
Friday.
Yeah. So Friday, I sent Billy Guerin a message because I want to get someone when I'm at the World Juniors in Minnesota. Like if it's got like an ART chiro, like someone to look after my shoulder to continue my therapy while I'm at the World Juniors. I just get feathers from Billy Guerin. I'm like, it's kind of a dick move from Billy, not even to say like it was just feathers, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then this trade goes down, and I'm like, now I know why that guy has ghosted me for the past 48 hours.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
Busy.
one. He was staring at his phone, and your name
Dude.
came, and he went, just get out of
He
my
swiped
world.
it to the side. What I originally thought why he wouldn't respond is I was thinking that he might have thought that I was sniffing out the trade or something and wanted to speak to him about that. But I never care about that. That's
No,
for
we're not-
Dregs
yeah,
and
we're not-
other people to deal with. I
not
just wanted a
insiders.
chiropractor in Mini.
Right.
And then he finally got back to me. So
Oh, he hooked you up. There you go.
I completely understand why he ghosted me for 48 hours because there was probably a lot of phone activity involved in that one.
Absolutely.
So funny.
That would be great. You're just stewing Bill Guerin. What
flushed me.
Absolute goon move. How could he? What is he trading for Quinn Hughes or something?
Yeah,
He's so
exactly.
busy.
You're that busy, that big of a hero, eh? Like you're,
Yeah.
You're just in your mind thinking bad things, and then all of a sudden, that's the reason why.
Makes a lot of sense.
His media availability, and even Quinn Hughes after the game, their media availability was very genuine and honest, and I appreciated it.
No kidding. It was more than just the old part of the business and got to move on here. You know what I mean? Like it's just some real type answers, just real life stuff.
I got to be honest. There was. I was reading New Jersey Twitter. I don't know how it came across my feed, but Quinn Hughes' comment hit a nerve in New Jersey with how he was giving props to Bill Guerin. Mm-hmm. Just saying this guy sacked up and threw it all out there, and I won't forget that. And people were basically saying
they thought
it's a shot at Tommy Fitz. Shot at Fitz.
Because he did say, some teams get scared off of what they had to pay for me.
Yes, that's the backhanded comment of potentially other teams that were going to acquire his services.
Yeah,
correct.
Well,
what do you think? What do you think the jersey price would have been? Nemec,
Mercer, and Picks. I'm sure they could put together a good package, but it does make you wonder if New Jersey again regrets it. Like thinking maybe they overplayed their hand. No one else is going to step in. Well, they're struggling right now. Obviously, they lost to Vancouver yesterday. Like shout out to Vancouver, and the kid had a goal and an assist in his debut. That was awesome to see.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
But New Jersey is in a tailspin right now, and it could have been a scenario. I don't know. This is all my opinion or speculation. That they thought, well, no one's going to pay that price because he's just going to sign here in a year and a half. So no one's going to step up. And we'll lowball it because we can leverage this play because everyone knows he wants to be in Jersey. And if that was the mentality and he got burned, that's impossible to explain to an ownership or anything.
That's a stupid mentality if that was your mentality.
I hope it's not what happened, but it wouldn't shock me.
A year and a half in pro sports is an eternity with what can happen. Jack Hughes could get pissed off in New Jersey and say he wants out. You never know what the hell can go on in a year and a half.
That's right. And that's the thing. Like Quinn Hughes is a generational talent, man. He's a great player, future Hall of Famer, 26 years old, and he's out there. And Guerin was the one that paid the price.
Yeah.
And I look at it. Yes, it's difficult because some teams are just in a different spot, and many feels like they got a good team, which they do. Got a lot of good pieces, good goaltender. Hines is connected well with that group behind the bench. They want to try to win. And they put their chips in. And not every team is in that position, so I get it. But there are more than just 2 or 3. There's 8-10 teams in the league you would think would be kicking tires on that. And obviously they chose not to. And the cap makes it complicated and all that kind of stuff. But still, credit to Minnesota. And now he pairs with Brock Faber, and you got to believe that'll be a pair for the U.S. when they get to the Olympics.
That Faber's a player, man.
Really good player. And he played with Slavin at the Four Nations, but Slavin's been hurt. But the question now becomes what happens with Connor Bedard, because that was a weird play off the draw, and Braden Shen got him, and it looked like a shoulder, obviously, the way he
looked like a Josh Norris play when Josh has fallen off a draw and his shoulder's gone.
Yeah.
You're the expert on 2 things, draws and shoulders, because you've had your shoulder done
5 times.
5 times, okay? That didn't look good. We've seen our buddy Josh Norris with that type of look off of a draw heading to the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I hope that the nature of the injury looks worse than it is, but if there's any type of massive injury to this right shoulder of his, I think it removes him from the equation.
100% it does. Yeah,
I think he might be off it now because I think he was, it was close, and now he's hurt, and it's
weird that injury, that face-off. Like just by looking at that play, Hayes, it didn't look like catastrophic damage could happen with that collision. It was like you could hit 10 times in a game worse than that. But I guess it was just one of those things where something gave out. I don't know if it was his labrum, his rotator. I blew out his shoulder somehow. Who the hell knows how?
They haven't said anything specific. They just said, he'll be reevaluated, I believe, next week. But it's early January, the reports. And
let me ask you guys this. would they have announced if it's a worse injury? And this is just, I'm saying what if game. If it was a worse injury, or if it is a worse injury, do you think they're slow playing it because of the Olympics?
Yes.
Dude,
That's
do you not
what
think
I thought.
that Dougie Armstrong has not called him and said, what's up with this? We need to know right now.
100%. They are. I'm sure that you're allowed to share within the context. Keep in mind, Doug Armstrong is the GM of another team, but within the context saying, what are we dealing with here? Do you think it's going to be 4 to 6 weeks, whatever? Because they do have decisions to make. But I just, that reeked of like, okay, that he's not going to be available till early, January 1st or whatever. That's not a date that seems that just seems
doesn't
weird
fit
for
in
me.
a timeline of
Doesn't
something
fit in a time. Yeah,
that looked really bad, and obviously is bad enough where he's on the IR and he's not playing for a while.
Right.
And I don't know if surgery is in the cards. It's obviously not right now. They're hoping to rehab, and that's been reported. But if surgery is a possibility, I can tell you this: if he makes Canada, that won't happen. He's rehabbing. If he's on the Canadian team, he is rehabbing.
Right.
Where if he's not, he might have surgery. Now, I don't know how that jives in Chicago, and it's this weird gray area in the sport right now where you have an obligation to your club team. Yeah. That's your business, that you're a professional, yet we'd be naive to believe that it isn't happening throughout the league with players where they're fighting through stuff because they want to go to the Olympics.
Dude, I've seen a lot of that hatred on Twitter where fans are like, oh, my guy just was healthy enough to play in the Four Nations, and maybe he'll just be healthy enough to play in the Olympics. Like, if that's just for what he's hanging around for, they'd be awfully pissed off.
And understandably. And I would think the Blackhawks would be, or any other team. And, hopefully he's going to be okay and play. Obviously, it stinks he's not going to play tomorrow because this was a massive marquee matchup. Like Bedard in town, he's only here once. But it does complicate things for Canada because he's been so good. He was not a lock to make it anyway. He was not. But, the idea that you might lose the opportunity based on injury. Yeah. And it was a weird play because there was no time on the clock. Like, it was very unlikely they were going to score. He was trying to get a shot off, so you can't prepare yourself for it. But Shen went kind of old man, I'm fighting. Yeah, and I wouldn't be shocked if a Foligno-Shen tilt took place the next time they played. And even though, because Shen's like
old school Eric Lindros, dude, where trucks you
I'm
right
burying
off.
this guy.
But don't you think? Play it again. Don't you think the damage was done on the ice? And what I mean by that is in the draw when you're pulling back. The Shen pushing, I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think. Don't you think the sticks click and something pops out like there?
Possibly, yeah. Possibly.
Because the push down was already over.
But look at Shen. He's not even playing the puck. Like, he went kind of right through him.
But I think when you see, again, you could speak to this. When you go down and dig in, a lot of times, like I've seen that Josh Norris injury or whatever, like when he goes to pull back, the leverage, that's what's caused the injury, I believe.
Yeah. Look, we're not doctors, so let's not try to pretend. There's a good chance that whatever was wrong with him, because I knew I had my first labrum problem. I took a face-off against John Madden from the New Jersey Devils, and I just, locked sticks with him, and my shoulder gave out. And that was just the trigger to say it's game over for your shoulder. And I know old Lavi there was pissed off because I couldn't get traded because my shoulder was blowing out.
Right.
And he asked me a couple of days later, he's like, why aren't you playing? I'm like, I have a torn labrum in my shoulder. And he said, so do I. And I said, yeah, but Lavi, you're the coach.
Yeah, you're not playing.
I'm playing.
Yeah,
you're not
I'm
taking
playing. You have to move pucks around and yell at people. I have to play.
Well,
Lavi.
yeah, that Michael Misa, this is a different story, but he's rehabbing now, so he's in San Jose. He's not with the Canadian team, right?
Yeah.
Like every injury around this time, if you're a junior, if you're going to maybe go to the juniors, now with the Olympic Games, like they're announcing the teams on New Year's Eve. I believe that was reported this weekend, which I find a little bit strange. Like why you would, it's kind of a news dump night, but, New
Year's Eve morning.
Okay, but still, you get it out. People in a weird play. That week between Christmas and New Year's, it's not normal, man. You
die-hard hockey people. They'll just be sitting around. It'll be a family event to sit around the TV and see who's on the team.
Yeah, that'll be cool. And that I am really fascinated by this. Like Canada, I don't think you can go wrong. you could just be different. They're gonna put the team's gonna be a great team. It's just a matter of
it will be. I just don't understand why they choose it so early. Like, why are you choosing it
it's for preparation
January
for
20th?
these guys?
Yeah, and I guess plans and stuff, Noodles, right? Like I'm sure the players probably mandate that. Let us know, are we booking a trip or are we not? Are we going or not?
Every player involved. Like I'd like to look at
30 minutes.
I was going to say every player involved probably makes north of $5 million a year.
Yes,
and I'm being,
generous
conservative
generous.
Yes. So I'm pretty sure they could book a flight or a vacation within 2 weeks. I just feel like choosing it this early, there's still always that one player that's like, hey, hottest player in January,
close,
and
Noodles.
not available.
Like
right?
they fly over there on the February 8th or something. It's like less than 2 months away. So I hear what you're saying, but at some point you just got to put the gavel down and say we're picking the team. Like,
fair
we got to promote it. We got to they're not. They know who they're picking too.
Yeah,
I think all these teams are pretty aware of who they have and who they want and how they want to shape out the line.
And this is an awful thing to say, but this in some way could have actually simplified the process for them a little bit if they were.
I think you're absolutely right. It softens the blow of him not being on the team.
Yes.
Hey, we love him. Now we just feel, you can explain your way out of it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where if he wasn't on the team, and there is a very good chance they didn't want him on the team. Not that he's not a great player.
It might have been anything, but they just can say now we don't trust the shoulder,
Yes.
and we got to know everyone's 100%.
That's fair.
But you could screw yourself if someone else, like a big boy, gets hurt, and then it's like, don't worry about that. Nothing to see there. But that's a totally different scenario.
Very different scenario.
You're right, though, because there is a body of work. I said this, I believe, on SportsCenter today. Sidney Crosby had a little bit of an injury or something. You're like, we know what he's capable of.
Jamie, it already happened at the Four Nations. Remember, his shoulder blew out, and he was like, no, I'm good to go. And they were
right. He wasn't playing for Pitt down the stretch.
Yeah.
That's right.
Didn't play for 2 weeks or something, and then he just showed up and played at the Four Nations.
That's true. Well, that's where fan bases are pissed because they're like, this guy doesn't want to play for our team, but no problem with the Olympics. Like, it's a different situation, but it was pretty convenient that Victor Hedman's out right till February, right? Like elbow surgery shut him down
before
time for the Olympics.
And Matthew Tkachuk, I think, will be back just
pretty
before.
Pretty sure Tampa could use him, but I mean, it is what it is, right?
You're right. Tampa, Florida tonight. You got Ottawa, Winnipeg. Both teams need a win tonight. Both of them need a win tonight. So we'll get to that with our best bets. And tomorrow it's going to be Skinner versus Jarry. Edmonton was in Montreal last night. They're down in Pitt. Skinner's going to make his debut. Obviously, Jarry will play for the Oilers. So we'll start looking ahead to that as well in Leafs Blackhawks tomorrow night. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and up on YouTube Live.
Hayes, you mentioned before we got to break there about that Jarry Oilers matchup, and I haven't got a chance to speak on that. I have no idea why the Edmonton Oilers pulled the trigger on that. I would take Skinner over Tristan Jarry. I know they felt they needed to make a change and get a different look in there, and maybe there was lost trust or just a lack of belief, but that's just the king daddy topper of lateral moves. And I like Skinner more than I like Jarry.
I don't.
And Jamie, you could come at me and say Jarry's a more talented goaltender. That's fine. But what has he ever done that makes you? The guy was in the minors a year and a half ago.
Yeah, I know. I needed a reset, but he also played in the All-Star game a couple years back too, twice.
So did Stuart Skinner.
Once maybe. I don't think so.
I don't remember, honestly. I don't
remember
know.
Skinner.
I guarantee you Stuart Skinner has played in an All-Star game. Took his team to 2 Stanley Cup finals. What has Jarry ever done in the playoffs? Tell me.
Nothing.
Listen,
Nothing.
You get an opportunity. My point is Jarry is a better goaltender. On a better team, I think he'll be fine. He actually can move side to side, where I think Skinner struggles side to side. I think it's a stylistic change. That's the way I looked at it. Stylistic change. Like it's not – it was no slight on Stuart Skinner. It's more about we need something different in there.
Jamie, it is a slight on the guy when the team doesn't believe in you anymore. It's a slight on you. They wanted somebody different.
I don't believe so.
It's changed for the sake of change, but I think it had to happen. Like Skinner couldn't play there anymore.
I get it.
Maybe
I get
he
it.
works
But
at
we'll see what this Jari does come playoff time. Because I watched numerous playoff series.
And he gets hurt a lot in his career. He's had injury problems.
It's not a guarantee, but it's I still believe they're going to have 2 new goaltenders there by the deadline, and the other one is playing in the minors for them, and he's a pretty darn good goalie, that Ingram. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where I do believe they're going to have a different look. I just that's my belief, but I don't know. And again, there's no guarantee. Oh, you're right. Like it could be viewed as a lateral move because it is right now on paper. 6'4" goaltender for a 6'4" goaltender. That's really what it is.
Well, and longer commitment, right? Jari's got this and 2 more years left on his deal,
which is cost control with the cap going up. But I think at the end of the day, Skinner's unrestricted. Kyle Dubas got 2 players that he can turn at the deadline here if he wants to, too. Mm-hmm. Keep in mind, I thought Dubas did well on the deal.
Yeah.
Because that Kulak is a good player, and he can move him.
I've always liked him at the Oilers. Yeah. I thought he was always a solid contributor back there.
But the Oilers went and got a younger Kulak under cost control with that Stastny kid. So, I mean, again, you got to – I don't know if it'll work out or not. We don't know. But I do like Jari's talent. You guys know that.
I've always said that, yep.
I like his talent. But you have to your point, and I'm not arguing with you, you have to produce and play. And what he's done recently hasn't been good enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not arguing with you about that.
No, there were some playoff series where the Pens had some expectations shortly after they won those 2 cups, and he stunk the joint out in net where it's like he had no chance to win.
Yeah.
Well, and Skinner did that too, obviously, yet they found a way to win, which is kind of remarkable.
In those 2 runs – with Stuart Skinner to the finals, Calvin Pickard had to play both times.
Absolutely.
Calvin Pickard played Game 5 of the Stanley Cup final.
Yes.
Crazy.
Game 5.
Crazy.
That was like – so I do believe they needed change. I do.
Yep.
And I think it's a win-win for
question
both of
is,
them.
is it the right change? That's the question.
You're right. That's
like, is Jari the guy? You give up a pick. Yes, it's 4 years down the road. You still gave it up.
Yeah.
You've lost flexibility. You could look at it at cost control if he plays well, or man, he didn't play well and now we're stuck. The contract, there's no flexibility now.
A lot at stake, man. That's McDavid's
I said
legacy
it Friday.
at
That's
stake,
the
man.
window now. It's the McDavid Jari window, which is crazy.
I disagree with that.
You disagree with that?
Yeah, so all of a sudden you're tied to Tristan Jari.
Who else is taking that guy?
He was tied to Stuart Skinner for 2 years, and they didn't win.
Work.
So the point being is you need change. It might be the Connor Ingram show. That's what I think. It might be something else.
Maybe, if that's the case, if you're banking on Ingram, why would you go get Jari? He's got 2 years left at that price.
Because
he's got to play.
You need players. I think you need 3 goaltenders in the system.
I hear you.
Right now, and you need 3 guys who can play. Like that. Mm-hmm. Take a look at the team we cover every day.
I know.
You need 3 goalies.
You got to have them.
Although I think we believe that Joseph Wall might be.
Well, I'll believe that when I see it.
Yeah, me too.
I think Berube is trying to will that into existence, and I'm not sure it's going to work.
I think he's playing tomorrow, guys.
Okay, we'll see. I'm
sign of the cross.
Let's hope so. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. Make your picks and assemble a same-game parlay in seconds on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Riding, unfortunately, with Noodles' son here. I think the Steelers cover tonight. I think Steelers cover. I think Rodgers throws a couple of touchdowns, and Achane gets into the end zone. That parlay paying almost plus 500. Best Bets powered by FanDuel. The OverDrive same-game parlay available on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Please play responsibly. 19 plus, physically located in Ontario. All right, football game tonight. Raps finally back on the court. We got a bunch of NHL games. Leafs in action tomorrow. Skinner, Jari tomorrow. It's going to be a good one. Going to be a good one. Shout out to everyone behind the scenes for helping out. We appreciate it. Everyone for tuning in today. TV, radio, podcast, web, and of course up on YouTube Live. Every show streaming live on TSN's YouTube channel. You can find all our clips on YouTube. Find everything wherever you download your podcasts. We're out of here. Enjoy your evenings. Enjoy the games tonight. We're back tomorrow at
Stu Skinner. Good luck. I hope you kick the Oilers' ass. 4 p.m.
2023 All-Star Stu Skinner. You were right,
Yes, that's correct.